Hello and Merry Christmas. Today is Saturday, December 21st, so 4 days away from Christmas 2019, and it is the Winter Solstice, so happy Winter Solstice if you observe it. My last video was 4 weeks ago today, so it was the Saturday before Thanksgiving. Now we're on the Saturday before Christmas. I did not know when I made that video. I mean, I always feel I have plenty to be thankful for, but since then I've had quite a bit to be thankful for. I have some big news. Are you ready? I graduated from physical therapy. Thank you very much. It happened right after Thanksgiving weekend, the very Monday after Thanksgiving weekend. That was physical therapy day, and it was also evaluation day. So they put me through a bunch of strength and balance tests and measured range of motion, made me hold my arm up and hold it out, not to the side, and all that stuff, and determined that I was far enough along in recovery to be released from physical therapy. I actually didn't mind therapy. Sometimes it's a little bit strenuous, but I kind of like that. It was like having a athletic trainer actually work with me because they're very skilled, very well trained. Just when I think I was really coming along well, they would know where to find the places that I needed recovery, like balance. I never would have thought to hold your thumb out in front of you and watch it as a way of training yourself, retraining your brain to have balance. But that motion, especially if you put one foot right in front of the other, I think we went through this on my last video. Try doing that yourself, and you can see that it's if you have one foot right in front of the other, it really tests your balance. So let's get you up to date on where I'm still needing progress. 5 months ago, I could not have stood up and walked at all on my own. And here I am. I can stand up and I can walk. I've come up with an analogy that might help you understand what this feels like. Try to think of what it was like to stand up in a canoe. That's pretty much how it feels to me. Is every time I stand up, for the first few seconds, there's a little bit of while I'm getting my stability, and then I need to, I just have to stand there for a second, and then my first few steps, I have to be very deliberate to plant the feet, and then I'll kind of get my stride, and I can walk fairly normally. I can't walk very fast. That's coming. But that's what it feels like. Just that first little, if you've seen a baby that's first learning to walk, it just stands up and you can see it do a little, and then plop, it'll fall back down and then stand up. I don't fall, fortunately. I have not fallen yet. Half of all stroke victims fall within the first year after their stroke. And, so, I'm still in the first 6 months, but no falls. And that often leads to other injuries. Loretta Lynn had a stroke, and a few months later she fell and broke a hip. So very common to have further injuries. Okay. So that's what's going on with walking and standing. There's still just a little, and sometimes while I'm walking, there's a little bit of, I'll just feel, like if you step on a loose board or something, there's kind of a little bit of a whoa feeling that don't quite have my full strength and balance back. That's what's going on with my walking and balance and legs. That my hand I still can't, I can make a fist with both hands, a good tight fist, but this hand, it still feels as if I'm just stiff a little bit, as if my hand's swollen. It's not swollen. But you've seen the picture. If you go back a few videos, when I first came home from the hospital, my hand was grotesquely swollen. It was just awful. So the swelling has gone away. And at that time, 5 months ago, I could not even close my hand more than, just to make a kind of a hook. Now I can close my fingers all the way. I can touch my thumb to all 4 fingers, the tips of all 4 fingers, but I can't give you the number, the W, the number 3. That's as close as I can get. I can just barely, I can get the first 2 fingers up, but then I try to get the 3rd finger up, and it's just not there. I can hold my 4 fingers up. If I tried to do hold up 3, it's just not there. As recently as yesterday, I discovered something new. I discovered I could put my hand behind my back. I could not, first of all, I'd get it back to right there and my shoulder would start to hurt a lot. I'd have to just stop. But even if I could try to push through the pain, when the pain started to diminish over the weeks, and I could not make my arm make that motion. I could not get it to go, behind the back. Now I still can't go very far behind my back like I can with my right arm. So that's that's there. There we are. You're up to date on how I'm doing with walking and standing. The hand, I could not get my arm up above my shoulder when I first came home from the hospital, and now I can do a touchdown, referee good signal, and this until just not even a week ago, this still hurt, and now I can do this. It takes more effort with my left arm than my right arm. I still have to really kind of push to get it to do that, but it doesn't hurt. And I can do it. Also, a little bit of remaining, like I just mentioned, a little bit of remaining issues with speech. Sometimes I just can't get a word out, or I can, but it's a little more struggle. And I struggle to find a word. We all do that from time to time, but I do it more than before. And the stroke affect my actual voice, the voice box itself. I know what my voice is supposed to sound like, and I don't have the fullness that my voice used to have. Sometimes it really gets pinched, and I feel like I'm Don Corleone. I'm going to make you an offer you can't refuse. Just really squeezing to get the air through my voice box. And it's every now and then I'll have a really good day when my nice radio voice is back. But other times, like today, it just feels a little squeezed, a little bit of tension. But I am aware of how much I have to be thankful for. I look back over this past year. Here's another element of her stroke recovery for anybody who's going through it or knows someone who is. There is a psychological element to recovering from a stroke that's very powerful. When you lose part of your body, part of your brain, there's something very psychologically different to that. Your brain is who you are, your memories, your personality, everything you know is your brain. That is it. That is, and you could, look at Stephen Hawking was in a wheelchair and could not, from the neck down, was a quadriplegic, but we still knew who he was. He had he was a physicist. He was a scientist. But so that's some of there are times when, even though I know, I've come further along. I'm so lucky that my stroke is not more serious. In 6 months, I've made more progress than some people recovering from a stroke make in 6 years or ever. There are people, I had an uncle who had a stroke at the age of 50 and the rest of his life lived in a wheelchair. So I know how much I have to be thankful for. By the same token, every now and then there are days when I really am discouraged that I just can't do something. I still can't drive. That's another thing. The physical therapist released me from therapy. I have had another doctor visit. So here's back to my point. The stroke makes you feel sometimes a sensation that's different from an injury. It's your brain. You really feel you've lost a part of yourself. The very core of your essence is gone. And even though I still know who I am, but there is you go through some days like that, especially when I'm having a particularly difficult day, using my hand or speaking. Just feel like part of me is missing. It's a difficult psychological state to push yourself through. So if you're going through that, it just takes nerve. I'm not there are motivational speakers who try to push the belief that you should be glad for everything that happens in your life. Even if you stub your toe or you get a flat tire, you should be glad that happened. And I think that's just silliness. There are some things that you wish hadn't happened, that are bad. I wish I hadn't had a stroke. The more responsible or reasonable approach is, if a bad thing happens, try to find a way to turn it in, make the most out of it. And one thing is, I lost a lot of weight. I was already, becoming aware of my weight problem. I was starting to lose weight when I had the stroke. But then the stroke really, talk about a motivator. That really got me, inspired to lose the weight. This shirt just fit me a year ago. Just fit. And now it's, way, I need to take down at least 1X, maybe 2X. It's less size in my shirts that I need now. This thing I can wear it like a robe. So there's a good thing that came from the stroke is it was a wake-up call to really start taking better care of myself. And then I it reordered my priorities, that's for sure. Anybody who's had significant medical event goes through, you know, all of a sudden things that you thought were important, you realize, well, why was I putting so much attention there, you know, effort into that? These are the things that really matter. And that was a good thing that came from the stroke. I don't wish a stroke on anybody. It's not a good thing. I'm just trying to you know, look at it in a positive way, because I mean, what else can I do? I can't go back and unhave the stroke. It happened. Here's a little bit more information again to show how fortunate I feel. The strokes are the leading cause of permanent disability in America, and 1 in 6 people has a stroke. Can you believe that? That's a lot of people. I had no idea that strokes were so prevalent. And so, you know, people, it's something that's difficult to recover from a stroke, but it's the leading cause of permanent disability. I'm coming back. I'm very lucky, and I recognize that. So that's my message. There's my status. You know, I'm standing, I'm walking, still got a ways to go to be able to have full use of my hand, be able to talk completely. But I've been released from physical therapy, so at least in their eyes, I'm far enough along that I can go the rest of the way on my own. It's going to be at least another 3 to 6 months, and maybe never. They have made me aware that I may never fully regain function of my hand. That's just the way it is with a stroke. So, hope you're having a wonderful holiday season. Merry Christmas. Have a fabulous 2020. And hey, next time I talk to you, it'll be next year. Hello, Merry Christmas. Well, that wasn't any good.